Hello everyone, today I want to talk about the Raiden Shogun rerun and hopefully try to help you figure out if she fits your playstyle and team compositions, so ultimately if she is worth your wishes. Since she is an older character, I won't be going into too much detail and keep the focus more on whether she fits your gameplay preference and later if she fits your account, or in other words, if you have characters that synergize with her. With that being said, let's get started. She's actually one of the most versatile characters in the game. This is partially because she doesn't really fit the usual labels of main DPS, support and such. For example, she works really well as a regular support for Eula, and at the same time you can easily use her in a quick swap team as the carry, which basically means you are constantly switching through your entire team, press the elemental and elemental burst skills and cover the downtime with Raiden afterwards. Her burst skill allows her to pull out a sword and deal electro damage for a few seconds, and after it runs out you cycle through your entire team again and rinse and repeat, which is a very fast-paced playstyle and a lot of fun if you like to press buttons constantly. And the best thing about all of this is, no matter how you decide to use her, the build is always the same. So this character probably has the best margin between investment and gameplay variety. And speaking of the build, like I said, she isn't a new character, there are several guides out there, so I'll just give you a quick glimpse of a stat line to aim for. And one thing I want to point out though is her weapon. Her best 4-star weapon choice is the Catch, which is one of the best 4-star weapons in the game in general and can be obtained for free. So not having to worry about that is definitely a big plus in my book. And her artifact set is the Emblem of Severed Fate set, which is a great general purpose set for a lot of supports. Some of her best synergies, Zhangling and Jingshou, use it as well, meaning you don't have to farm some niche domain for an artifact set only Raiden can use. As for team compositions, like I said, Raiden has some nice options, but she also has quite a few anti-synergies. And since this video was overly positive so far, let's start with those. The Ganyu banner is up right now, so if you like to play cryo main DPS characters like her or Ayaka, I unfortunately have to tell you that Raiden is kind of a bad choice as a support. These characters are mainly played in freeze and melt teams. For the same reason you probably don't want to play her in Jingshou Vaporize teams with pyro main DPS characters like Hu Tao, Diluc or Yanfei for example. All these team comps are designed around triggering specific elemental reactions, and Raiden has a lot of random electro application on her elemental skill, which would just make these teams inconsistent. She also increases the elemental burst damage of your team, so characters like Yanfei, who don't deal any damage with it, won't gain anything from Raiden as well. And now let's get into characters you actually want to have to make Raiden work. She has a lot of utility as a support, a damage bonus to your team's elemental burst skills, and she can restore your character's energy while attacking with her sword. So she is very valuable to any character that deals a lot of damage with the elemental burst skill, so basically perfect for Eula. She also enables superconduct, a electro character plus cryo character. You could also pick something like physical main DPS Rosaria. She also gets superconduct, but she also makes a really good support in this comp, especially if you have a Constellation 6. For the same reason, Zhongli is really good here. And you could also replace Eula with Ningguang. She also deals a lot of damage with her elemental burst skill, so she benefits a lot from Raiden's buff. Or you could pick something like, for example, Child, and trigger some elemental reactions, and pick something like Venti to group up enemies for Child to deal some splash damage. Aside from this, you also have the option to pick a Pyro main DPS like Klee for example. Like half of her damage is from her elemental burst skill, so again a lot of value from Raiden's buff. And you could pick something like Kazuha to increase the elemental damage and have a viridescent set. Same for Hu Tao. Everyone knows she deals insane damage with her elemental burst skill, and you have an overload comp with her here. When we move into using her as a carry, it gets a little more complicated. The damage bonus she grants is based on the energy cost of the elemental burst skill, so you could think characters like Zhongli, who deal a lot of damage with their elemental burst skills, are ideal for this, but the energy cost of his meteor is very low at 40 energy. This means he would only get a 12% damage bonus, so let's have a look at other support characters who deal most of their damage with the elemental burst skill as well. Zhangling and Jingshou both have 80 energy cost on their skills, which means their damage bonus is double of Zhongli's at 24%. And this isn't even the end to it. Raiden's Elemental Burst skill also deals damage based on how much energy you used beforehand. I'm not gonna bore you with any more math, but you get the idea. If you pair Raiden with characters that have high energy cost, they gain more damage from Raiden, and in return, they also feed Raiden more resolve stacks to increase her Elemental Burst damage. So for this team to work, you want to use as much energy as possible before using Raiden's burst skill to deal the most damage possible, which means you also want to have a healer that is kind of proactive with the burst skill, like Bennett, who grants an attack buff, or for example Jean or Sayu, who can wear the Viridescent set effect. If you have Barbara in your team, it feels a little weird to randomly press the Elemental Burst skill without intending to heal anyone. This team is usually referred to as the national comp and has currently one of the highest damage output in the game, which is especially impressive to me considering Raiden is the only 5-star character, and we already saw how it works in action earlier. And as bonus memes, I know YouTube loves gimmicky setups to show off big numbers. Raiden's initial damage on the Elemental Burst damage is actually really high, so you could stack a lot of buffs like Bennett, Kazuha, Mona, and hit something for probably 300,000 damage and one-shot pretty much anything in the game. So if you like something like this, it's obviously really good, and if you have a Constellation 6 Sarah, it's probably even better.
There is no escape. Yahoo! I'm going in. Decided by destiny. Now you shall perish!
With that, we finished everything gameplay related, and that's usually all I talk about on this channel, but for this character I'd like to make an exception. She looks amazing, but that's obviously only my preference. There's something else to this character though that can find some objective appreciation in my opinion. Let me start by saying, some of you might be familiar with the Dark Souls series. Those are games that are famous for a variety of reasons. One of them is for being very atmospheric. There are obviously multiple factors at work for creating that, but I think one important one is their amazing SFX. When your character slowly pushes open a heavy door, you can hear that weight. Their sound effects are on point. Same for when you swing around your sword, and speaking of swords, to elegantly link this whole monologue to Raiden, I get the same feeling from Raiden's Elemental Burst skill. She is an electro character, so I was prepared for some lightsaber action sound effects, but I actually got pleasantly surprised. They actually cranked the bass up on that thing. It sounds like she is bringing down the thunder, and just close your eyes and listen for a second.
Now you shall perish!
Alright, we made it to the end. Thank you very much for watching. Back when Raiden came out as a new character, this was actually the first video of the series and one of the first ones on this channel. So I guess in a way she inspired me to start YouTube, and hopefully I could inspire you to start saving your Primo Gems. Or maybe give you reasons to keep saving them for another character. Anyway, stay tuned for more videos. Until then, have fun and bye bye.